Hi YouTubers, and welcome back to the channel. I had just found some more rust on this clubman. So I was cleaning this all back to bare metal. It just looked a bit funny in this area here, and it was full of bog. You can still see there's a bit of bog left in there by my finger, so I got to prise that out as well, get rid of it all. So I've made this little piece here, and I just tack that in. It's not even tack this end, just tack that end. And then I've made another piece to go in here. So a little bit fiddly, but it all comes together in the end. So yeah, you can see that little curved piece there. So I'll MIG that in there. Probably better to TIG it, but I'm not very proficient with a TIG welder. I'm just more comfortable using the MIG. So I'll probably just MIG it. It'll be quicker for me anyway. So yeah, I'll MIG that in there, and then I'll do this in sections. So I will actually do a small fold, and then I would cut out a section here and put a piece in here, and then what I'll do is I'll go to the back, and then I'll put a new section in there as well. As I say, this looked pretty good. It's only when I cleaned up back all the paint that I found all that. You can see the rust in there as well, so yeah, it's not very good. So it all needs to come out. So it kind of almost looked like that. And it just shows you what you find when you clean it back. Hopefully that's the last of the rust. So I put a repair section in there and started dressing that back. Yeah, still got this area here to grind back. So, and yeah, the corner's gone in pretty good. So on the inside, yeah, you can see the state of the rot. So it's about nearly, well, probably a third of the way down that waste rail there. So what I've done is I'll cut that section out, but I've meanwhile made a repair section there, which I folded to follow the same profile. So I'll mark this up through here, and then cut that bad section out, and then weld that one in. That's most of the rot dealt with. Then I've just got a little layer up here to sort out, but that's really minor. So again, I'll probably fold I'll do a fold in the metal, and then come back in onto this flat, because it's always easier to grind onto a flat rather than trying to go into a corner. So I'm just doing the last few bits of bodywork on here. So the front here was all the sort of front valance was all distorted. So and there was a split through here. So I've welded that up, dressed that back, and hammer and dollied all the front. The whole thing was misshapen through here, and then right down the bottom. So yeah, managed to get it all pretty straight now. So I just use a long rule, yeah, through there to try and get the shape. So just work at it. It takes a few hours, but I've noticed over here where it's been welded together, it started to delaminate, and it's a bit rusty. Just the last little bit down the bottom. It looks like just surface rust. There's no holes in it, so that's the last little piece I've just made. So I'm going to weld, obviously cut that out and then weld that in there, and then weld that to the fender or wing. So I think that's just about everything done on the car now in the way of welding. So it's I've actually started stripping. So I've stripped most of the floor inside with a chemical strip, but it's all got to be keyed up with 80 grit yet before I paint it. So what I'll do is I'll kind of finish. I'll finish stripping inside, get most of the paint off, just to make sure there isn't any other welding to be done. Sometimes you find the odd hole, and same in the boot. So I'll chemical strip that as well, and then what I'll do is I'll flip it over, and then I'll chemical strip the underneath, and then I'll actually paint all the underneath with a stone chip or anti-stone chip, and then spin it back upright like it is now, and then I'll key everything up, then I'll pop it in next door into the booth, and I'll get it all in epoxy primer. So anyway, in cleaning the car further, I've actually found a bit more rot in the front of the car where the headlight is. So I made that piece to go in there. I had to cut this out first to actually get access to this piece to go in. So I just kind of moulded that to the shape to go in there. We'll have to fold round, but I'll get some welds in first and I'll fold that back round. Okay, so that's the first piece to go in. And then I've got a tiny little triangle to go in this corner here to carry this lip round. So that goes in, and I've made this piece to go right in the corner. It's all a bit fiddly and a bit like a jigsaw, but I'm sure it'll be okay. And then I found that as well at the top, so I'll do all those other bits first just to keep the shape of the front here, and then I'll address this afterwards. Okay guys, so I've been cleaning all the old paint off the underneath of the car. It's not going too bad. It's about 2 days work there. Probably more like 2.5 days work actually. The worst bits are always these places up underneath the fenders, and this area here where my finger is, that's the area where they actually rust through. So yeah, and it's just a nightmare to get in there and try and clean the old paint off. Okay, so that's the first piece here, been welded in and all dressed back. It's just sprayed with weld through primer, and I've welded a little piece in here as well. Oh, and also return this lip around here. Okay, so that's the repair all finished. Repaired the hole in this section too. Ended up there were some holes here as well, so I cut a piece and curved that just on that front fender there. That's the last bit. Okay, so that's the car all stripped now, all ready for the paint. It's good 3 days, good 3 solid days of just basically sanding and scraping to get it to that kind of standard. So most of it's original, obviously apart from a bit of floor I put in there and a repair I did on the floor section there. The rest of the car is pretty original. a few patches. Original battery box, which is in quite an amazing condition actually. It's one of the first places it usually rots out. So yeah, you can see where I put a patch in there in the boot floor, and put another one in there too. So right, next job now is to get it all masked up, and then get some paint on it. Okay, so I've masked all the car off. I've now washed it with Prepsol, which is a wax and grease remover, so go over all the panels with that first. Then I use like an acid wash, which is a phosphoric acid. So it's a diluted. You just dilute it down about 5:1, and you give it a wash. Don't let it dry out. You got to keep it wet, and then wash it off with loads of just ordinary water, and then try and get the panel dry as quick as you possibly can. I just use a rag. It's actually really hot in here today, so the issue is it's drying really fast on me. But the good side is that I can get the panels dry really quick as well, so it just means I've got to move a lot faster with it. It leaves like a residue on, you can actually see it on there, but it's actually, what it's doing is it's actually etching into the metal and prepping it for paint. The other thing it does is it converts some of the flash rust over to, I can't remember what it is, I've got a feeling it's phosphoric carbonate, something like that, but it basically almost neutralizes the rust on there, but it won't take off heavy rust, it will just take off flash rust. So, and I say flash rust, if you have a rusty panel, it's amazing how clean you can actually get it with phosphoric acid. So it's just a really mild acid. So anyway, next job is to basically, I'm going to wash this down again with a wax and grease remover. Some people don't like to do that because they say that because of the etching nature of the acid, that the solvent can sit in the metal and it's not good for the paint, but I've never really had an issue with it, so I'm going to wash it down first. I'll let it really gas off for an hour or so, and then I'm going to basically hit it with a 2-pack epoxy. Okay guys, that's 2 coats of epoxy just gone on there. The product I'm using is a Naval. It's like an industrial epoxy. You can actually get away with 1 coat. Lays on incredibly thick. I actually put 2 on there. It does say 1 to 2 coats, but you can get away with 1 coat. But yeah, put plenty on there. So I'm trying to get into these really hard to reach areas, like in here. So typical areas on minis where you just, probably from the factory, not enough paint actually went in there, so which is why they rot out. The same with these front fenders. You can see right up in that top corner, it's so hard. Actually, you've got to try and get the gun actually inside the arch to fire the paint into that corner. So got a couple of runs in there as well, but they're not too bad. You're not really going to see them. So there is a textured paint going on this as well. So it will be like an anti-stone chip paint I'll spray on. So I'll actually put that through the spray gun as well, as opposed to using the Schultz gun. So I prefer it because it's a bit lighter, and you don't use as much product as well. So I'll get away with 2 cans probably on this, as opposed to if I use the Schultz gun, I'll probably use about 4. So yeah, again, it's a 2-pack epoxy product I'm going to use on the stone chip as well. So I'll leave this to go off overnight, and then I'll buff it up, or just put a key on it, light key on it, ready for the anti-stone chip to go on. So anyway guys, big thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one.